Tallinn looks, at first glance, like a city from two different centuries placed on top of each other. On one side, there are stone walls, church spires, cobbled streets, merchant houses, and a medieval old town that feels almost impossibly well preserved. On the other side, Tallinn is one of Europe's most digitally advanced capitals, associated with startups, cybersecurity, e-government, and globally known technology companies. That contrast is what makes the city so interesting. Tallinn is not just a pretty Baltic capital, and it is not just a modern tech hub. It is a place where geography, trade, conquest, survival, and reinvention have all layered together. To understand Tallinn, you have to see it as both a fortified medieval port and a 21st-century digital city. Tallinn is the capital and largest city of Estonia, located in the north of the country on the Gulf of Finland, part of the Baltic Sea. Its position is one of the most important facts about it. The city sits only about 80 kilometers south of Helsinki, across the water from Finland, while also being within reach of Riga, Stockholm, St. Petersburg, and the wider Baltic trade world. This location made Tallinn naturally outward-facing. It was never an isolated inland capital. It grew beside the sea, and the sea connected it to merchants, armies, cultures, and political powers. Today, Tallinn's metropolitan area is home to hundreds of thousands of people, but its importance is larger than its size. It is Estonia's governmental, financial, industrial, and cultural center. Long before Tallinn became a capital city, people were already living in the area. Evidence of human settlement goes back nearly 5,000 years, which means the story of Tallinn begins far earlier than its medieval walls or official city rights. The region that would become northern Estonia had its own indigenous communities, traditions, and beliefs. In the wider European story, this matters because northern Estonia was among the last parts of Europe to be Christianized. During the 13th century, the Northern Crusades brought military conquest and religious transformation to the Baltic region. For Tallinn, this was not a peaceful transition from one era to another. It was part of a violent reshaping of power, faith, land ownership, and identity. The first recorded outside claim to Tallinn came from Denmark in 1219, after a successful campaign led by King Valdemar II. This moment placed the area firmly into the power politics of medieval Northern Europe. Tallinn's later history would involve alternating rulers and influences, including Scandinavian and Teutonic powers. The city was not simply built by one kingdom or one culture. It was shaped by competing authorities who understood its strategic value. A fortified settlement on the Baltic coast could control movement, trade, taxation, and military access. That is why Tallinn's early medieval development cannot be separated from conquest. Its location made it valuable, and being valuable made it contested. In 1248, Tallinn, then widely known by the name Reval, received Lübeck city rights. This was a major turning point. Lübeck law was used across many towns connected to German and Baltic trade networks, and receiving these rights helped Tallinn function as a structured medieval city with recognized legal and commercial systems. City rights were not just ceremonial. They governed trade, property, courts, and urban administration. In practical terms, they helped Tallinn become more than a fortress or settlement. They helped it become a merchant city. This legal foundation connected Tallinn to a wider world of commerce, rules, privileges, and obligations. It gave the city a framework for growth. From the 13th century until the early 20th century, much of the world knew Tallinn by another name, Reval. Names matter because they reveal how a city is seen by different powers and languages. Reval reflects Tallinn's long period as a Baltic trading city with strong Germanic and Northern European connections. Tallinn, by contrast, is tied to Estonian identity and the modern nation-state. The change in common usage from Reval to Tallinn is more than a label change. It mirrors a larger historical shift, from a city often described through outside imperial, German, Danish, Swedish, or Russian frameworks, toward a capital defined by Estonian sovereignty and culture. Tallinn's medieval rise was driven by the same thing that made it contested, the sea. Its port became especially important from the 14th to the 16th centuries, when the city grew as the northernmost member city of the Hanseatic League. The Hanseatic League was a powerful network of merchant towns that dominated much of northern European trade. Being part of that network connected Tallinn to goods, money, laws, and people moving across the Baltic and North Seas. Merchants brought wealth, but they also brought architecture, institutions, and urban habits. Tallinn's Old Town is a visible reminder of this era, when trade shaped the skyline as much as politics did. The Old Town of Tallinn is now one of the best preserved medieval cities in Europe and is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. That preservation is not just about beautiful buildings. It allows modern visitors to read the city's history in physical form. Defensive walls speak to insecurity and military pressure. Merchant houses speak to wealth and long-distance trade. Churches and guild buildings speak to religion, hierarchy, and civic organization. Many European cities have medieval fragments, but Tallinn has a remarkably coherent medieval urban environment. This gives the city an unusual kind of historical density. Walking through it is not just tourism. It is a way of seeing how a Baltic trading city once organized power, commerce, and daily life. But Tallinn's story does not stop with medieval preservation. One reason the city stands out today is that it managed to connect a deep historical identity with a very modern economic direction. Estonia, after regaining independence in the late 20th century, became known for digital government, technological experimentation, and a willingness to build public services around online systems. Tallinn, as the capital, became the center of that transformation. This matters because the city did not simply inherit importance from history. It created new importance through policy, education, infrastructure, and entrepreneurial culture. In many countries, old capitals are administrative centers first. Tallinn became something more unusual, a historic capital with a startup mentality. By 2012, Tallinn had the highest number of startup companies per capita among European capitals and larger cities. That statistic tells us something important about scale. Tallinn is not one of Europe's biggest cities, but its startup density made it disproportionately influential. Smaller cities can sometimes move faster because networks are tighter, institutions are closer, and talent communities know each other. Tallinn benefited from that effect. It became associated with companies that could grow far beyond Estonia's borders. Skype, one of the most famous names connected to Tallinn's tech identity, helped put Estonia on the global technology map. Bolt, another internationally known company, shows that this was not a one-time accident. Tallinn's digital reputation also extends into cybersecurity and European institutions. The city is home to the headquarters of the European Union's IT agency and to the NATO Cyber Defense Center of Excellence. That combination is highly significant. It places Tallinn at the intersection of technology, governance, and security. In the modern world, infrastructure is not only roads, ports, and power lines. It is also data, networks, identity systems, and digital resilience. Tallinn's role in this field makes sense when viewed through Estonia's broader digital development. The same country that invested heavily in online public services also became deeply aware of the need to protect digital systems. Tallinn became a natural center for that expertise. This is why Tallinn is more than a travel destination or a historical curiosity. It is a compact example of how cities survive by changing their function without erasing their past. In the Middle Ages, Tallinn mattered because it controlled trade routes, port access, and Baltic commerce. Today, it matters because it connects governance, startups, technology, and cybersecurity. The tools have changed, but the underlying pattern is familiar. Tallinn uses its position to connect different worlds. Medieval Reval connected merchants across Northern Europe. Modern Tallinn connects Estonia to the digital economy and European security networks. Its power lies in that continuity. It is a city that kept its walls, but did not stay inside them. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.